There we go. And please remember, if you have anything that makes noise when it goes off, to mute it. We'll begin with an invocation by Commissioner Majerick, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Hinkleman, and you're welcome to join us for either or both.
Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Through our weakness, give us strength. Through our discussions, give us clarity. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach successful conclusions. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Please watch over all citizens living with illness and pain today. God bless America, Berrien County, and our families. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
When you're ready, will you please call the roll?
Bell.
Here.
Here.
Present. Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman.
Here.
Jerry.
Here.
Meeks.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Borat.
Present.
Wolfle. Yarborough. Elliott.
Here.
10 present at this time.
Very good. Thank you. And I think Mamie's coming. So
Yes.
Minutes from last Thursday. Haven't seen any need to change those. Or a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Freeling, supported by Scott. Any discussion? We're approving the minutes right now. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have communications.
We have one resolution from the Sheboygan County Board of Commissioners urging the return of the state workers to in-person operations received on February 22nd.
Very good, thank you. We're moving along at a good clip. We're ready for a public hearing. And this is about a brownfield plan, I think, for Benton Charter Township. So we'll need to adjourn this meeting and in the public hearing. Is there a motion to do that? By me.
Bell.
Yes.
Curran.
Yes.
Freeling.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Meeks.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Borat.
Yes.
Yarborough.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
11 yeas.
All right, folks, we're now in public hearing mode and we'll hear from the Community Development Director, Dan Fetty. After he's done, we'll have a chance to go around this horseshoe and take questions from the board and then from the folks who are here in the audience. Dan.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. You have in a consent agenda or consent calendar today a resolution approving a brownfield plan located within Benton Township on Napier Avenue. This is a plan that was developed by our Brownfield Authority last fall. The Brownfield Authority recommended approval of it in December, but because of scheduling reasons, we haven't been able to get the actual public hearing conducted on this. You recall that when we do a brownfield plan, it has to be done pursuant to a posted public hearing. It has to be formally adopted by the board by resolution where you make certain findings, particularly that the plan meets a public purpose and is compliant with the requirements of the Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act. After that, we take it to Benton Township, and Benton Township's Board of Trustees also has to approve the plan by resolution. So I know there's a lot of people here today waiting for probably more notable things, so I'm going to try to speed through this as fast as possible. We're calling this the Jimmy John's Brownfield Plan. It pertains to property at 895 East Napier. I'm going to talk about I'll give you a summary of what the project is, a description of the site, the basis of eligibility, why the site can be included in a brownfield plan, and then quickly I'll run through what we call these Section 13 requirements. These are the statutory requirements that we need to make in order to assure that the plan is compliant with the law. So, well, my clicker's not working, so I'll just, no, it's all right. This is a site located near M139 and Napier Avenue. It's approximately 0.7 acres of it's a former gas station, in fact. You can see in the site location, you see M139 or 39 running north and south, Napier Avenue running east-west. There's 94 at the intersection there. So it's right, if anyone knows where the Jimmy John's currently is on Napier Avenue, it's right across the street from that. They're moving just basically across the street. This is a map showing the actual site in question. There's Napier and the intersecting side street. I believe that's Morton that intersects there. The Clem's dry cleaning outfit is adjacent to this as well. This is the site plan submitted to us by the developer. And basically, they're constructing this. There's about 1,000 square foot drive-through Jimmy John's restaurant. You can see you enter off in Napier, go through the drive-through. You can also enter off from Morton and then exit out of Napier. This is something we're seeing with a lot of these chain restaurants. Now they're moving more and more to drive-through operations and fewer in-person seats for, I think, obvious reasons as a result of the pandemic. Again, I mean, just a site rendering of what the restaurant will look like when it's completed. The parcel is basically two parcels we're looking at. The northern parcel was used for agricultural purposes throughout the 1930s. It was developed for residential uses in the 50s. Eventually, that residence was demolished and it's remained vacant since then. The southern parcel, the one that actually borders Napier, again, used for agricultural purposes, as was most of the land out there in the 30s and 40s. In the 60s, a gas station and a service station was constructed on site. I think that's the old Clark gas station, if I remember. That was demolished. That gas station and service station was demolished in the early 90s, and the parcel's been vacant since then. Prism Environmental last fall conducted site investigations of the property and determined that there was contamination, tetrachloroethylene, in excess of established criteria, meaning that the property is deemed a quote-unquote facility under the Michigan Environmental Protection Act. A facility, of course, is a property that's defined as a property that has certain hazardous substances in excess of certain criteria established by the state. Because it is a facility, it is therefore eligible property and can be enrolled in a brownfield plan under the Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act. That's Public Act 381. I know I'm running through this quickly, but I think we've been through this many times. You guys understand the process. The developer of this site is going to have to undertake, or is presently undertaking, certain costs to address the contamination and ensure that the property can be redeveloped appropriately and consistent with the requirements of the Environmental Protection Act. Their costs include phase 1, phase 2 site investigation activities, the preparation of the brownfield plan, of course, mobilization of contractors, demolition, removal of contaminated soils. You can see that's about $22,000 right there. Various grading and site fill that needs to take place when those soils are removed, excavation, backfill, storm drainage system that's necessary for retention purposes, soil erosion control. There's also what they call a depressurization system. That's just to allow any kind of vapor to not intrude into any facility that's constructed on site. So the total cost about $158,000. This isn't a very elaborate brownfield plan or project. They're estimating about 2% financing cost on top of that. Contingencies, we always budget about 15% of developer contingency, and then in the case of our own administrative costs, we're going to charge $25,000 to administer this plan over the life of the plan. I'll go through these requirements very quickly. An estimated taxable capture associated with this, the tax revenues that be generated by it. We think it's going to take about 24 years to generate the necessary taxes to repay these eligible costs. We anticipate capturing taxes this year using the 2021 taxable value because that's when the plan was introduced to the Brownfield Authority. The property should have a taxable value of around $525,000 upon completion, which will generate roughly $9,000 to $11,000 a year in captured tax revenue over the life of the plan. I never have figured out a way to put this table up here in a way that's actually readable. I apologize, but this basically is a table that tells you the taxable, the millage rates that are going to be captured and the actual increment revenue resulting from that capture. It will be Benton Township general millages and their special police and fire millages. LMC, and Berrien County general and special millages. All told, like I said, it should generate somewhere between $9,000 a year in captured revenue, ultimately concluding a little over $11,000 a year in captured revenue with inflation. Probably take about 24 years to pay this off if it's paid off in full. The county is not being asked to advance any of the costs of this plan. It's going to be funded by James Paul and Associates, the developer of the site. There's no bonded indebtedness associated with this. We are proposing the brownfield plan be dated January 2022 with a taxable value as of December 30th, 2021. As I said, I've gone through the table of estimated revenues. It's hard to read, but it's a 24-month plan. As I indicated, we've shown you the legal descriptions, the location of the site maps. I've already gone through that. We've discussed the characterization of the property as eligible property because of its history of contamination. And finally, I want to mention that no personal property taxes will be captured as a result of this. It's just real property that we're looking at. We are always required to make a statement of whether or not individuals will be displaced from the property in question. There are no people residing on the property, therefore there's no need to go through uniform relocation or displacement hearings. And finally, we are not proposing creating a local site remediation fund. This is where we capture, repay the developer, and then continue capturing after that in order to fund additional activities on other sites. This is too small of a project to bother with doing that. Benton Charter Township has indicated support for the plan. I received a letter from the supervisor 2 months ago directly requesting that the Board of Commissioners adopt this plan. It's, like I said, this is not an elaborate project. It's a fairly simple, small brownfield redevelopment project. It doesn't mean that it's not important, of course, but this is a good way of getting depleted or underutilized property back into taxable and economic use. Any questions?
Questions from around the horn here? Anyone? I would note that Jim Paul has a history with the county going back 20+ years to the redevelopment of the Fairplain area, bringing Target in, getting MDOT to do, getting MDOT to do the road, the interceptor. It's actually over 20 years, I think, because Harry Gast was still in the Senate and got us the MDOT Economic Development Grant. So he's got a good track record. Questions, comments from the public at large? All right.
Thank you.
Motion would be in order then to conclude the public hearing and return to the regular meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Volrath, supported by Scott. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Kern,
Yes.
Freeling.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majerick.
Yes.
Meeks.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Bowler.
Yes.
Yarborough.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
11 yeas.
Thank you. Okay, we're back in regular session, and the next item on the agenda is the broadband survey report. Is John here? Or is John's there? Okay. Hi, John.
Hello,
Hello.
shall I go
You're
ahead?
on, John.
Okay, I'm going to grab the screen. I hope you all can see. I'm presenting today a tool that the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission has developed to provide the county a link on their website that will explain the territory that has been covered on the broadband survey that the county did with Merit. And it is a lot of the product that it was generated from that survey, but it also explains the process. So anyone who wants to know the ground that's been covered to get the county to where it is presently, this tool should help do that. So I'm going to walk you through it. It's something called a story map, which is a combination of maps and narrative to explain the maps. So it kind of answers to various ways that people approach these kinds of things. Some people are really comfortable interpreting maps, others need narrative, and this kind of handles both. in order to accommodate folks who don't have, tons of time to walk through a story map like this, we've built an executive summary at the top, which essentially is a distillation of what follows through the rest of the story map. So there's a single page, and it also is able to be downloaded as a PDF. So anyone using this can download that PDF and then just carry that single sheet around. That basically gives you the findings. But down below, we then have a kind of a timeline of what has transpired since as far back as 2013, explaining how the county arrived at where we are today, and really what led up to the survey. So that's a sort of simple tool to help people level set a little bit. After that, there is narrative that explains the survey itself, what its intention was, how many parcels were surveyed, that kind of thing. So there's just basic narrative about the survey. Then we have a page that's dedicated to the various grant awards that have been provided for broadband provision in Berrien County. And in our case, there are, in Berrien, that is, there are three different programs, 4 different examples of where grant awards have been given to internet service providers who will provide broadband internet throughout the county. This was a really important tool to let folks know that if they don't currently have broadband, it's possible that an internet service provider is coming soon to provide you that service. And the way these story maps work, as I said, on the side here is explanation of what this map covers. So it's details about how to understand the map. But once you understand the map, you're able to click on polygons within the map, and the polygon will open up and gives you detail about that particular census tract, and who the ISP was that won the auction for that piece, and then what speeds are anticipated. So in this case, this is tract 904, census tract 904, and in that census tract, this consortium known as the NRTC Phase 1 RDOF Consortium, known to those of us on the inside as this is Midwest Energy and Communication, won a bid to provide broadband service to this census tract at gigabit speeds, which is extremely fast, 1,000 megabits per second, and at low latency. So, that's what you can do with this map. You can go through each of these different programs, click on the polygon, understand what's being promised based on the grant award, and then you can move on. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. That's a combination of a lot of good information that kind of helps provide background. Then the survey data is available. So then as you scroll down, it explains the various pieces of data that were derived from the survey. And then we have survey maps with all of that data in it. So you can enlarge or shrink the maps as you please. And these are all dots that represent specific households or places where the survey was gathered. And similarly to the other map, you can click on any one of those and get details about the survey data that was acquired. And I just want to make it clear that the survey data collection includes these bulleted items on the left, the number of individuals that reside at the address, those under 18, those who are college students, those who are, how many computers and tablets are in use in the house, because we are involved in the Internet of Things now. and how they receive internet access, and the satisfaction with their internet provider. So all of that information is available. If you click on one of these dots, you get that information. Further in here, we have the actual speed testing that went on along with the survey. So you're able to know generally where fast and slow speeds are. And in this case, the deeper the chroma, the deeper the purple, the faster the speed, and the lighter the chroma, the closer to green, the closer to 0 you are, where no provision of internet is even available. So this covers the difference between download speeds and upload speeds. So it defines those, and it shows you, kind of what those two ends of the speed kind of spectrum are. Farther in here, we have, a comparison between the FCC broadband provision maps and the maps that are derived from the survey. So essentially, it tells us, hey, when we compare the two surveys, we find that 52% fewer homes have access to broadband than the FCC said that we had. And 21% fewer homes have some connectivity at speeds lower than broadband. So that some of these interesting comparisons between the FCC maps and the actual data are demonstrated. And then this is where we cover the reason why folks are underserved. So as you can see in the map legend, there are a few at the deepest chroma, again, that they don't need or think they want internet. But the rest of them, these blue dots are largely, where service is just simply unavailable. And then the yellow, green, however you want to see that color, those folks say that the price is too high. It's available, but they can't afford it, or they choose not to. This is another comparison between the survey data, which is on the left, the map on the left, and the FCC data on the right. So it tells you, kind of where those two maps diverge in terms of coverage. I'm almost at the bottom here, but at the end of the tool, this is a list of the local units of government that participated in the survey, the percent response that they got during the survey, and the fraction of their respondents that didn't have broadband. So you get total households, response percentage, and fraction with no broadband, and all of our jurisdictions are represented here. This is where we have sort of infographics here to summarize. And then the very last piece of information is we have individual maps for every single jurisdiction that show their response rates. This one's got a little issue with the data download. It's not a big deal. Get that figured out. Let's see here. Right, so I can click on any one of these townships and pull down their individual map, and it has the data for all those who took the survey. That's the tool. We've been working on this for a bit, and I think we've gotten it to the point where we've really kind of polished away some of the issues that needed to be worked on. I think what you're looking at is as close to the final product as we're probably going to get, unless there are any suggestions from the board.
John, are you ready for questions?
Sure.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, comments, including the folks involved with BC BIT? Terry.
I just want to thank the work of Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, partnering with BC BIT and the county, putting together something that was user-friendly, that different municipalities and ourselves as commissioners going out to those leaders in our community, that we can use this as a tool, particularly as we're talking about the American Rescue Plan fund dollars and the application. This is really a great opportunity to kind of say, here is what your community looks like, to continue that conversation. So I'm really excited that this is available, and I look forward to having it on our website to be a tool. Thank you.
Commissioner Warfel has texted to ask if the township maps are interactive. John, do you know?
Those are PDF maps, so they're not interactive, but you can drill down in those maps elsewhere on the story map and get the interaction that he's asking about.
Okay, very good. Bob, Jim, Ezra, anything you want to add?
No, I just want to thank John for all his work. We partnered with Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, 3 years ago? We are definitely ahead of the curve because we began this process long before broadband was popular. And now, there's money available, and we've got other municipalities and other counties coming to us, asking us how we got to the point where we're at now. So I think that's it's a big plus to this board for having the foresight to do that 3 years ago, and also the foresight in hooking up with the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission and John Eaglehoff to make a lot of this happen. So it's really an exciting time because there's a lot of state and federal dollars being made available, grant money being made available for broadband. And because we've done a lot of this work, because we've done a lot of those surveys and the maps, we're positioned very well to receive those grants and get broadband throughout the county. So thanks, John. Thanks, Matt.
Anyone else around the, Dave?
Well, I'd just like to say, I'm speaking with other commissioners up in Lansing in their meetings. So most of them are like a year behind where we're at right now.
Okay.
So most of the information I'm getting is things that we've already done. So, but I'm talking to other commissioners, they are, where we were a year and a half ago.
Ezra.
Yeah, just remember, Berrien County, we were talking about broadband before it became cool. And we've started on this journey 4 years ago. And I'd just like to thank the board for making it a priority for Berrien County. Once again, Berrien County is leading in the state on this. And now everybody is looking to us for the proper way to go ahead and start their own broadband. And we were very lucky in our first meeting when we basically arm wrestled John Eaglehoff to do what we wanted him to do because we needed the help. And John has done a phenomenal job. And I just wanted to say thank you to the board and thank you to John.
Brian, did you have anything to add?
I would just add, as several others have noted, John has been extremely helpful. And with sincerity, John, thank you for all of your hard work on this. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Glad to do it.
Yeah.
It's
Indeed.
the feeling is mutual.
And anybody who's out there shopping for a cell phone, bear in mind the providers' maps to some extent rely on FCC maps, which means don't rely on them. Look at this instead. All right. Well, thanks, John. We're going to move next to Tiffany Peterson, who has a presentation for the Animal Control Department.
Okay, you're on. Put on my reader so I can see. I'll apologize now because I am not, my strong suit is not public speaking, so I'm gonna do the best I can. And I've tried to limit myself on some notes because as Commissioner Curran knows, I will talk all day if you let me. First of all, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to present my staff. I'm going to briefly introduce my staff that is here. the time that they've been with our department with Berrien County Animal Control. And then I'm going to present them. I've tried to keep it quiet, but I'm sure they kind of all know, with a tribute or a recognition from Governor Whitmer that we have received throughout the pandemic. So I'm going to start with my administrative staff. I have to see if I can find them. They've kind of spread out. Oh, stop. Separation anxiety over there.
One is
Frida over there.
part of your.
She's the mascot, Frida. Okay. First, I'm going to introduce you to someone that is really kind of, she's newer to our staff. She's full-time about 3 months now, been with us about a year, but really has picked up the slack with trying to take on 2 roles right now as we've been short-staffed and really hustling. Rebecca Kapic, she's looking, if she's going to hide back there. She does our volunteer coordinating, and she also does a lot of our clinical assistant work with who I'm going to introduce next is my kennel supervisor, Ashley Herr. She's been here almost 3 years. So like they're trying to be bashful. You should all stand up and wave. Okay. Which then takes me to my shelter manager, Melissa Jilson. She's been with the county 8 years full-time now. She manages all the financial aspects of the office, does your payroll, purchase recs, orders, things like that, deals with all the craziness that happens up in the front office, especially lately. On my officer side, I will start with my part-timers. I do not have one of them here today. She's new, Kayla Kohlberg. She is still in training. We have Sarah Orpert, who has been with the county 12 years now, part-time, and has went from a kennel worker up into, we call her our emergency operations coordinator. Handles all that crazy stuff that goes on over at Empire. State of emergencies seem to happen a lot around here. So Devin Brubaker, he has been here 2 years. He is not with us today. Hopefully he's back soon. He's off on some medical complications right now. He is one of my full-time officers. Next, we have Matthew Kuntz, who's been with us full-time 6 years. And my senior officer, Robert Pounders, who's been here full-time 14 years. I can't thank this staff enough because over the last couple of years, it's been hard. It's been really hard, especially with the pandemic of COVID. I don't want to get all emotional and stuff, but we just talked the other day, Melissa and I, there's no lanes anymore in our department. Everybody is just do what you can and get it done. Because you got a small staff trying to serve a community and trying to do the best that we can. I think we're doing a pretty good job. You know, we all kind of, as I say, are nipping at each other's ankles once in a while, but we're very understanding of the fact that lots of hours, time, sweat, tears, all that good stuff. So I'm really excited to explain this tribute. I'm going to attempt to read this to you, and I'll give you a little brief history on this. Sarah came to me. We were having a meeting one day talking about COVID and a lot of the things that have transpired. And she says, you know, it was really weird. This was back in April of 2020. She's like, I got a phone call one night and it said state of Michigan on it. And I got really nervous and I told my husband and my kid, be quiet and turn everything off. She says, I'm just kind of listening, okay. And so it was the governor's office that had called for what's called a town meeting, a town hall meeting. She says, somebody had asked her, you know, are you so-and-so? Do you work for so-and-so? We'd like you to stay on the phone because the governor would like to talk to you. And she just, huh? Like what? You know, I mean, so and throughout that meeting, she stayed on for a little while and then the governor got on and was able to thank her and recognize Berrien County Animal Control for, it was a pet food pantry that we put together during COVID because a lot of things all of a sudden happened. You know, food was disappearing off the shelves. People couldn't get to the store, just a lot of complications. And we know how important it is that people's pets are to them and their families. We also did an emergency, basically a kit to put together if we had to remove an animal. And we got recognized for this and it was sent throughout the state of Michigan, and other animal controls and departments actually noticed this and picked up on this and thought it was really cool and adopted our model that we put out. She did what is, you're gonna have to correct me on this because it's a lot of stuff that you have to do at the EOC.
I did a release through the MySim system, so it went statewide. from there, the different counties started picking it up because they liked the model that we had set. We had set a precedence, in case you did get COVID, have family, friends, neighbors, somebody in place to take care of your pet, that we're a small shelter. We can't take in hundreds of animals and care for them during this time. So that was a big thing. And I started seeing, the shelters over in Detroit that are filling up with pets because of either people coming down with COVID or not being able to feed them. And this eliminated that from coming to our county. And so it kept us from getting overwhelmed by these animals coming in. And yet the whole state adopted it and started using that for their own animal control divisions, and just adapted that to their own departments at that time.
Thanks. I couldn't remember all that. Yes, it's been hard because, day in and day out, my team's been through COVID at work, doing everything that they possibly can. So with that, I'm going to attempt to read this. Hopefully I don't stutter to you. This is what we were given. I did a lot of research and digging. I really didn't know where to start. I started reaching out to the state of Michigan in different offices, and I'm like, there's got to be minutes for this. This has got to be documented. She didn't know, I didn't tell her. So I started snooping around and doing some digging, and I made contact with somebody right out of the state office that said, oh yeah, this is documented. We can do something for you. Let's get the details together. And it took me a little while. And finally, at the end of December of 21, they mailed me this. It's a state of Michigan special tribute, which says Berrien County Animal Control on the top. It's signed by Garland Gilchrist, the second lieutenant governor, and Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of the state of Michigan. And it says, let it be known that it is with genuine pleasure and deep gratitude that we recognize Berrien County Animal Control for their continued work in servicing the residents and providing care for the animals of Berrien County. The Berrien County Animal Control Department has provided excellent service to the communities of Berrien County. Their work with getting pets adopted, spay and neuter assistance, and providing a shot clinic shows their dedication to serving the local animals and maintaining the highest quality of life. Their service to the entire county by providing education to promote safe pet ownership, as well as enforcing state and county laws, are greatly appreciated. Throughout the pandemic, the Berrien County Animal Control officers worked effortlessly and without hesitation. Their commitment to the safety of those in the community is something that we should all aspire to emulate. Their work in starting the first emergency COVID-19 pet food pantry in the state of Michigan is a testament to the caring and giving nature of the entire staff. This quickly became a model to the entire state of Michigan and has shown the love and dedication that the staff has spread not only in Berrien County, but across the state. We would also like to recognize Sarah Orpert, who has gone above and beyond throughout 12 years of her service. Her dedication to this department earned her a promotion to the main emergency response officer. Her incredible effort, care, and diligence is a testament to her willingness to go above and beyond to help her community during challenging times. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to Berrien County Animal Control as a token of gratitude for the service both before and during the pandemic. The work they accomplished has been crucial to the community's well-being and will continue to help both the residents and the animals of Berrien County. I am going to present this copy of this to Sarah because she is named in this one, but I also have the original copy I'm going to hang up on a wall. I'm trying to, as you see over the course of the last few years, I pushed my staff a lot, and I'm grateful for the fact that they just kind of along for the ride and they jump on board and do it, and it works out great. From the flood when we ran 2 shelters and saving the horse to we had the polar vortex. There was just around the clock things that have just been kind of crazy. They've all jumped in and done an amazing job, and I couldn't ask for a better staff. I hope to continue to keep doing this. Animals are definitely where I belong, where I'm comfortable, and I think that this is where these guys belong. I mean, they show that by their work and their service to the community. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here and the support that's come today. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Frida's gonna do it. Frida, come here. Come here. Silly girl. Why'd you butt scratch? Come here.
You better.
Okay, thanks Tiffany. Thank you, everyone associated with animal control. We're gonna move on. The next thing is public comment. And it's limited to comment about resolutions. Anything you see on the agenda for today, any of the resolutions under the consent calendar would be ripe for comment. If you have anything to say, just come up, tell us who you are and where you're from, and got up to 2 minutes to expound. Was it something I said? All right, hearing no comments about the consent calendar, is there a motion to approve it as submitted? Moved by Volrath, supported by Harrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Bell,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman,
Yes.
Majeri,
Yes.
Meeks. Meeks,
Don?
your vote.
Yes.
Borat,
Yes.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Scott says yes also.
What did Mr. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Head count.
Checking.
Easy one.
Did I say yes?
I thought I heard you say.
Okay, all right.
You were the last one.
Okay, I don't know. All right, so committee reports. First one is admin, the chair of admin, please.
Thank you, Mac. We had Robert Ray in to see us this morning. Robert is with Building and Grounds. Provided us a written report just highlighting what his department's been doing. I think one of the things that he tried to convey to us is staff shortages. He is short on staff. We've heard from other department heads the difficulty in finding people to replace people who are leaving for whatever reason. And he talked about his maintenance people. He talked about his custodial people. Right now, he has probably, I don't know, 13 to 15 custodians, and he's down 8 custodians. So he kind of conveyed to us the stress that's putting on him and his employees because of the time they have to spend in addition to what they're doing because they're shorthanded. Right now, he's offering voluntary overtime on Saturdays for those folks to come in and get caught up on things. He's getting to the point to where he may have to make it mandatory to have people come in on overtime so he can get the work done. He, like Tiffany, is very proud of his staff. He mentioned a few of his key people. One is Mike Collier, and he told us about all the great things that Mike does. Mike sounds like a jack of all trades, master of none. You know, anytime he needs to get something done, Mike does it. Mike has been with the county for 40 years, 30 with the sheriff's department, 10 with building and grounds. And he really wanted to, Robert really wanted to recognize him. And I think he did that with our committee. And then I suggested that he get with Annette, provide her with Mike's information so we can do an honorary resolution. You know, for someone who's been that much of an asset to the department or to the county for 40 years, should be recognized. So we talked to him about that. He also mentioned Randy Clark, Joe Martin, and Chris Smith as being key employees that are definitely stepping up. He talked about the building assessment that's being done now, and we interacted and had some questions with him on adding buildings, deleting buildings, how is that gonna impact his operations? And Robert just strikes me as the type of guy where he'll find a way to get it done. Very, very good guy. Anything you guys want to add? Nothing? Okay, then we, Annette brought in a requisition approval that we previewed and then signed. And we had a Sheriff's Department Berrien Community Foundation distribution form in the amount of $709.78. And this is for the chaplain's expenses for February of 2022. And that's our report.
Questions for admin? Hearing none, will the chair of PHS fill us in?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also met this morning. We had several items of business to consider. The first was an advanced step higher for the health department. They're bringing in a replacement registered nurse, and so they provided some information, and it all seemed appropriate. She's a very well experienced registered nurse. We then had our Register of Deeds come in, Laura Freeling, and talk through some of the issues that they've been facing, looking at the volume of activity that they've experienced over the last several years. You'll see a memo coming out from her regarding some suggested changes in the physical plant to enhance some security aspects. And then we had our Lex in to talk about GIS. He also has a new hire that's come to us from the University of Michigan and Michigan Tech, someone very well qualified. And so he's very excited about that. And then we spent a great deal of time talking about a proposed data sharing agreement with the state of Michigan, looking at tax parcels, center lines, address points, and then the state being able to do a flyover assessment of our properties. So that you'll see that come to us here in the next several weeks, but seemed very reasonable and would result in some savings for the county. So it seemed very, very appropriate. So I think, gentlemen, I think that pretty much covered our meeting. Does that conclude our report?
Very good. Any questions for Personnel and Human Services? All right, Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you very much. We started off our meeting with Annette Krieger coming in to add some requisitions to the bill list, and we were familiar with them and agreed, please, to put them on. And then we had a report from Dan Fetty, and it was regarding Berrien Bus. There are a lot of interesting things going on that they're working with. Dan did receive Evan Smith, our director of Berrien Bus, that he will be leaving his position effective Friday. And there's going to be other vacancies. And so they're working and looking at putting the Berrien Bus together with some other things that may make a whole, not H-O-L-E, a W-H-O-L-E. So a number of things are going on, and that's all I want to report about that. But through your committees, you all will be aware of that. And then we had a wonderful bid opening of aggregate based. I'm learning a lot of good words and understanding what it is. But I'd like to ask Commissioner Scott if you would report to us on that, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We spent the better part of 40 minutes opening bids for aggregate. It was one of the funnest times we have in finance. 8 different aggregates from 4 different vendors going to 6 different garages, and they each have a different price. There were 12, it was sent out to 12 people and only 5 responded. And that happens a lot. So thank God it was only 5 and it wasn't 12. We'd have been in there for another half an hour. But anyway, then we also did a bid opening for the North County aggregate base course. Actually, it was for 2 roads. One was for North County aggregate base, and the other one was for South County. And basically what it was how many miles that they were bidding on and the estimated cost and whether or not they paid mobilization to the site or whether it was just furnish the aggregate and haul it. And it went by tonnage. That was another one. Then the last one we opened was another bid for aggregate because it was aggregate day to day, but it was two different bids, actually. One was for 22A and the other one was for 23A. We used both of them on the roads, and this was sent, they were sent to 12 and 4 responded.
5.
No, this one it said 4. Here it said 4. I don't know. Well, but we did get 5. We did get 5, so someone else saw it and bid. But we sent all of these bids back to the road department for their purview. Compare all of these little amounts per ton, if that's important. If not, then just let me keep it. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. And then we had some waivers from the road department. Once again, all of our departments, everyone that talks, you hear them talk about the shortage in their staff. And we have a person that would normally be the inspector for things, and he's gone. People are pulling all of our qualified people away, making them offers they can't refuse. And so we have 2 things that are going, and they're federal jobs, and federal jobs have to have an inspector or someone that's with it or available 24/7. Because there's so many things they have to do as testing and seeing that all the things are right. And we expected that it would have cost us $20,000 to do one of these, and that it would have cost $30,000 to do the other, the inspection. And what we're ending up having to do is put it with Whiteman, and the amount, and this will be done this summer, will be $193,300. And the other one will be $305,368. That is money coming from
Fund balance.
fund balance in the
Road.
road department. And the only thing that we can hope, if we get more staff and they're putting out ads, saying that we have these jobs, then we can cut it down by putting it back in-house. But the few people that are there are so busy doing other things like this that they can't spread out anymore. And what he did, he checked with other companies like Abbott Marsh. They can't get to it until, what they say, September or next year.
Next year.
So September. So that's what we, by consensus, agreed to happen, and it may come to you all's, do they come to you, road department?
Yes.
Yes, they'll explain it, and maybe they already have, but this is what we did today. Then we made a motion to accept the minutes and a consensus to pay the bills. Anything else?
Questions for finance? Commissioner reports will go clockwise.
Last week, because of time, I had also said if anybody had anything to report out, to do so. Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, we had a meeting. I do believe that we have an open seat available for Southwest Michigan Planning Commission because one of the terms expired and that person wishes to no longer serve. So I had sent a message to you just recently, Annette, to look into that. And then we just did a turnover, so I'm no longer chair for Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, but we now have Roseanne Marchetti from Cass County, and I think it's in very capable hands and will continue to serve in that capacity. I'll save the rest for the other members that served if they wish to report.
I'd just like to thank all of the commissioners who joined me yesterday at the Boys and Girls Club tour. It was a pleasure having you all with our county administrator, Brian, and our chief public defender. The Boys and Girls Club is very grateful that you guys could join us, and we're hoping to continue to build a connection and let the Board of Commissioners know how important investing in our youth is here in Marion County. Also, I've been talking with the different municipalities, St. Joe as well as St. Joseph Township, and they are extremely proud of the work that the Board of Commissioners is doing regarding broadband. I spoke to them about what me and Commissioner Freeling were discussing about just trying to make sure that not only are we expanding connectivity, but we're also talking about investing in our community when it comes to affordability in broadband. So they are very grateful for what we're doing, and they're looking forward to more ways that the county can invest in its residents. So that concludes my report.
Thanks, Mac. Mamie mentioned something in her report that I forgot to mention during Robert Ray's, and that is supply shortages. And I'd like to read from his report here. He talked about, him not having the staff, so he contracts some things out. He can't even get contractors to give us a quote because they don't know about the availability of parts or their own people. And this is a quote from his report that he provided to us. It says, due to the now unreliable marketplace for contractors and repair parts, it has become increasingly difficult to plan, prepare, and proceed with normal maintenance tasks. Instead, demanding a constant state of fluidity from maintenance staff. This coupled with the staff shortages creates a stressful environment for the remaining staff. So I know I reported out, I think before, the road department, the motor pool, the difficulty of the availability of parts is impacting our maintenance grounds as well. Thank you for letting me get that in. Yesterday, I attended the 911 technical and operations along with Commissioner Volrath. Number of projects are just proceeding. There's two of them that I kind of want to highlight. I've mentioned to you before the cross-border communications. That's what between us and Indiana. Indiana has an 800 megahertz system. Michigan has an 800 megahertz system. Well, all those fire departments and police departments along the state line can't communicate with each other. So what we're doing is we are working with the state of Indiana to now be able to communicate on their towers. And from what I understand, the part of the biggest hangups is proprietary. This state wants to make sure they keep theirs, and this state wants to keep theirs. But it's also, once you open that up, the security and not being able to hack into that system, once they open it up to Michigan and Michigan open it up to Indiana, gets to be a real challenge. But they are moving forward. Right now, Clay Fire Department, which is just south of Niles Township, is on Michigan's 800 megahertz system. They got on. There are, I think he said, 3 or 4 other departments that are very close to being tied into the system. So I think that's exciting. We also talked about the AEP building in Buchanan and how that's such a perfect location for the tower. They've done the radio tests for signals. It's the perfect elevation. It's going to work out great. So everybody's excited about that. And everything else is just progressing through, being updated and going well, other than Caitlin has the same problem everybody else has, shortages of people. Not only getting them, but retaining them. Because those dispatcher and call taker positions can be rather stressful. And there's a burnout factor. And it's hard to get the right people to replace them. So she's facing that difficulty as well. And that's my report.
Yeah, I don't have much to report. Yesterday, the 911 meeting and, the new tower at the new building, hopefully that will enhance even more our ability to cross borders with Indiana and make communications go more smoothly than you get 2 dispatchers trying to talk and two dispatchers, you listen to one, you can listen to one instead of the other, you know, I think that'll make that even much better too, so. That's my only report.
I got a report. Went to the Public Works Board meeting and Dan Petty was there and he talked about the use of the ARPA funds. And he's supposed to be getting in touch with the other communities to access their needs and help them with it. So that was it.
I got it. Yeah, I had a meeting at the Riverwood Mental Health, and we had a presentation by Autism, and the day-to-day people that give care, there's a constant turnover there, and it may be because of the pressure, but it's not any more than most. But the administration and the clerical therapists, they're pretty well set with people working. And the autism has not changed much. They're getting back more to interpersonal communication with them as opposed to Zooming and so on. So it's things are moving. The participants in that are not going up or down. It's pretty stable. Expenses are going up. Revenue is coming down in that area. And that's pretty much my report.
I had one meeting, it was the BC Bit meeting. And we had much to do there. We got a lot accomplished, a lot of things were talked about and discussed. The one thing that I had made a suggestion is, but we didn't do it because of the time difference, but I thought that we should maybe give Peter Clovis a call in Hawaii to let him know exactly what was going on in the meeting, but we didn't want to disturb him from his sleep or if he was having a lava flow. So it was just one of those things you have to understand. And we talked bad about you and good about you too. So, but yeah, the BC Bit meeting was there and we had a lot accomplished. John Eaglehoff once again is doing an outstanding job for this board and for the county to move things forward. That's all I had.
Thank you. I attended the Zoom meeting with the Boys and Girls Club. I thank you, Commissioner Bell. It was so beautiful. What they said is that they had 3 goals or things that they worked towards. And one was healthy lifestyles, academic success, and character and leadership development. And they had young people that talked and they showed every one of these, how many times they've been back in school. No, I'm not going to quit or not going to give up. And it made me want to stand up and give them a standing ovation. So I just sit and I clapped because it was so beautiful and refreshing, a very positive in the things that they're doing and how much they care. So I thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. We need to run.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Right? Yes, ma'am.
I apologize. I was trying to gather my thoughts and then Commissioner Scott made me remember that we had a pretty heavy BC Bit meeting. And what I wanted to take the time to share, because it's being recorded and also to all of you, is we will be having a BC Bit meeting on March 17th that will be open to anyone to come to talk about the ARPA application that we've rolled out, to kind of walk through the process to apply for that. So March 17th at 12:30, it'll be
Is that
here.
a Monday?
No, that's a Thursday.
Oh, it is a Thursday.
Yep.
Oh,
And then we will also be having some other opportunities to kind of fill in our municipalities and community leaders that are interested in broadband. We'll have another meeting on March 3rd for BC Bit. This story map that's going to be available on our website for anybody to have questions. But then also there'll be another opportunity for municipal leaders on March 4th. To be able to talk about broadband as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any afterthoughts for reporting purposes? All right, Brian, do you have anything? Is he still there?
Yeah, Mac, I'm still here. I just wanted to stress to the group that the staffing situation is something that we're keenly aware of. Staffing is a nearly daily discussion, and it's something that we are working with our personnel staff to try and broaden the net as we attempt to attract folks to the county. As it relates to the project in Buchanan, we are hosting meetings just about every other week on the project planning and the implementation to bring that 911 EOC IS project to fruition. Early next week, the project planning team will be sitting down with leadership from Pearson Construction to finalize the budget estimate. And it's our intent to bring forward authorizing resolutions in the near future to allow us for finalizing the building acquisition, allowing us to begin the planning zoning process for the formal submission to the city of Buchanan for the placement of the tower and for the build out of the project. We've had ongoing and regular communications with AEP, with the city of Buchanan, with the county staff, and then with our outside consultant. So we are making progress, and we are aware that this is one that the public, the staff, and I believe the board is excited about. Those are my comments, sir.
Anyone have any questions for Brian? Brian, when we talked at 8 a.m., it was 5 below. What's the temperature up there now?
I think it's getting up to close 5 degrees, but the sun is out, so it's beautiful. And we will definitely be getting after it on the ski hills later today and for the remainder of the weekend.
Oh, good for you. All right, Brian, no need to hang around if you don't want to. You got family time, which is the best time. We're going to go into general public comments. Thaddeus, likewise, if you're still hanging there, does anybody need either of them, or are they okay to sign off?
We might wait till after the public comments to know if we need them.
I think we're safe. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day, guys, unless somebody here wants to keep them.
I'll hang on, I don't mind.
Okay. All right, general public comments, anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less, name and where you're from.
Do I need to come to the podium or? Yes, thank you. So good morning to the board and the chair. My name is Joseph Taylor, a resident of Benton Charter Township. I reside at 1874 East Empire. I'm here today to give my intent to run for Mr. Meek's seat, District 3 County Commissioner. And I just wanted to come here today out of respect for the office to make that announcement. And just some background about myself. I'm 53 years old. Been working at Whirlpool Corporation for over 20 years in the engineering department. I currently work in KitchenAid. I'm a past president of Benton Harbor Sunrise Rotary, a past board member of Benton Harbor Area Schools for 10 years. Also a coach and mentor for First Robotics for 17 years. And also I just started or got accepted by Michigan State to start a 4-H program for the Benton Harbor, Benton Township area. We haven't had that since I was a kid in high school. So I wanted to do something new and unique for the district. That's about me. I look forward to running for the office, and I want to just reach out and thank Mr. Donnie Meeks for all he's done for my community, Benton Charter Township, as well as the communities of Berrien County. Mr. Meeks, thank you. We appreciate your service. And I hope that whomever it is that gets the office and retains your seat can do just as good a job as you have done. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Sure.
And you don't need to give your street address. Just the municipality.
Right there, right? I remember.
Yep.
Peter Clovis, Prairie Real Estate Group, Hager Township trustee. My first intent to speak was to thank Commissioner Freeling for being the chair of the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. I think that the commission, the Planning Commission, is an extreme asset and gem for us, and under your leadership, you've helped improve it and propel it. I also know you're taking a lot of heat. You've done a lot of work with broadband. It is not lost on us, and Hager Township would like to thank you. And then in light of Mr. Joseph's announcement that he is running for office, I want to thank you for running, because I think that quality candidates, of which Joe is absolutely quality man, and he's got a lot of experience under his belt and battle scars. It's hard, as you all know in this room, to put yourself out there as an elected official. And I think that it's great that you're running, and I want to thank you for doing so. Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clovis. Anyone else?
Yeah, Tony, I'm back. So my name is Sean Hill. I'm live in the city of St. Joe. This past week was good news. They basically, all the kids have gotten their face masks taken off in schools, which is a good progress. I just ask you as a board, if there's any way that we can prevent, obviously I know if they put laws out there and mandates, but as a board, I come to you guys and I talk to you guys because you're over the health department in Berrien County. And I would appreciate if we could get a commissioner on that board that actually would ask questions like Commissioner Scott did when Mr. Miller came in here and gave his presentation. I thought you had some very good questions that you asked him, instead of having somebody that just like this all the time. Yes, yes. I think there should be some good quality questions asked, and it's okay to ask these questions, because it may be that one question that makes people think about what decisions they're going to make, and that could affect our kids. And let's face it, our kids are the future of this community. I do believe in taking care of the older folks in our community too, but the kids were the ones that were not affected by this. And I feel that, you know, like I said originally, they should be able to do their education without any kind of obstruction. The things I heard from my daughter this past week was kids were very excited about not having to wear their face masks. There still are kids that are wearing their face masks, which is okay. That's all we ever asked as parents, is just to have the option to put the face mask on our kids or not. And as a board, I'm just asking you, please consider someone else for the health department that'll ask crucial questions of the health department and what decisions they are making and why. And just don't always believe the numbers, because obviously this past week, we also found out that the CDC has been hiding information from us. And 2 minutes, it's okay to ask. Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yeah. Have you ever been here before?
That's what we're finding it. Okay, Pelzer, Hager Township. I'd like to make a few comments about the amount of money funded to the senior centers. Now, 9 o'clock, I was down at the Lincoln Senior Center. You know, each one, a couple of weeks ago, I think you passed this resolution, each one gets about $370,000. So there's 5 of 7. Some of these are so small, like for example, the biggest one would be Lincoln, St. Joe, Benton Township, Benton Harbor, and probably Niles. Now, the other one probably have hardly, well, they got people in there, but they don't have as many as what we have here. So like, for example, Berrien Springs, Coloma, which I'm supposed to belong to, right? I go out there, there's hardly anything to do out there. Free coffee, that's about it. It's just one small building. That's why I go out there. They got all kinds of stuff going out there. See, when people go in there, they get they have a barcode, run it across, and the screen pops up, tells you what kind of services are available. You put a check mark down there, then you go. Now, what I'm saying is, I think instead of everybody getting the same amount of money, what we should do is count the number of people that use the service. Everybody goes in there and to check in, right? So we've got an attendance right there. So take the attendance of the people that came last year and give everybody the same amount of money. So that one there, they'll serve, I don't know, 5,000 people, where Coloma might only serve 1,000 people. Why should they get the same amount of money as those people over there? It's not fair, is it? It's not very democratic. I know somebody came up with a system, looked at the map, and was just divided up like this. Thank you.
Minister. Anyone else have anything to share with us? All right, we'll close general public comments and move on to other business. Does anybody have any other business? Hearing none, announcements and reminders, anything that fits in that category? All right, we're on a roll. We're going to adjourn and we'll be